Asexual reproduction in plants and animals. Reproduction is simply the process by which living organisms bring about their young ones. Whenever two parents are involved, there is formation and fusion of gametes to produce an offspring. We call that sexual reproduction. But when it is only a single parent that is involved to produce an offspring, is called asexual reproduction. In asexual reproduction, there is no formation nor fusion of gametes. Asexual reproduction in animals. Animals also do reproduce asexually. Animals can bring about their young ones asexually simply by fusion, budding, spore formation, fragmentation, and regeneration of lost parts. Let's go through all these methods detailedly. Fusion. Fusion is simply the process whereby a single cell divides to produce two or more cells. When a single cell divides to produce two cells, it's called binary fusion. Meanwhile, when a single cell divides to produce more than two cells, is called a multiple fusion. Multiple fusion often takes place during unfavorable conditions. You can see the multiple fusion in the amoeba. During unfavorable condition, it forms a cyst around its membrane where there is several divisions inside the cyst and later on liberates so many cells. The next is budding. Budding is simply when on a cell there is an outgrowth. The outgrowth, a little genetic material, is then passed on to the outgrowth. The outgrowth later on matures and cut off from the parent cell. You can find budding in yeast. Spore formation. A spore is simply a unicellular structure that is able to grow up and produce a whole new organism. So many animal-like organisms reproduce by producing spores. Example as mainly common in the fungi. Example is the bread mold. Fragmentation and regeneration. Fragmentation and regeneration is simply the process whereby whenever an organism is fragmented, the different fragments go up to produce a whole new organism. You can see fragmentation in the starfish and the planaria. Asexual reproduction in plants. Plants generally undergo a special type of asexual reproduction known as vegetative propagation. When vegetative propagation is simply the process where the different parts of the plant are used to grow up a whole new plant. When there is man intervention, when man intervenes to grow up a whole new plant, is called artificial vegetative propagation. But when there is no man's intervention, it's called natural vegetative propagation. Let's go through the different natural ways in which plants can propagate. First is plant can propagate through rhizome. A rhizome is simply a horizontal underground stem that is able to grow up and produce a whole new organism. And a rhizome can easily be seen in the ginger, where the ginger has birds that are able to grow up and form a whole new organism. Comb. A comb is simply a vertical underground stem that is also able to grow up and produce new organisms. Example is the calyx. The different eyes of the calyx can grow up to produce different organisms. A potato tuber is also an underground stem that is also able to grow up and produce a whole new organisms because it contains germinating buds. Next, vegetative propagation also can be done by leaves. The bryophytes are also able to vegetative propagate by leaves. That is, the leaves can grow up a whole new plant. Vegetative propagation by roots. Sweet potatoes, for example, the roots of sweet potatoes are able to give rise to a whole new plant. Vegetative propagation by creeping stems. Creeping stems like the strawberries are also able, the runners, the strawberries, and the offsets are also able to grow up and produce a whole new plant. Artificial method of vegetative propagation, that is with man's intervention. We simply have just a few of them. That's cutting, grafting, layering, and tissue culture. Cutting is simply when a suitable stem is cut off from a parent plant and replanted to grow up and produce a whole new organisms, like for example the mango, the rose, and so on. Layering is simply when there is it's just like cutting, just that the germination before cutting it from the parents. Or you can simply use a coconut bark, fill it with soil to go around the plant to promote root development, and later on cut it from the parent. The main difference, note that the main difference between The main difference between layering and cutting is just that in cutting there is no root formation before cutting, meanwhile in layering there is already formation of roots before cutting.
Grafting is simply a farming technique where farmers often cut a suitable stem of a given species of plant. That stem is called a scion, and they attach that scion onto a root system called the stalk. The scion and the stalk later on become permanent parts of each other, growing up to form a whole new plant. Yes, you can attach different species of scions on the same root system, but note that by the end you're going to have a whole plant that you can have different fruits on it, different species of plant on the same tree. And in tissue culture is simply a biological technique where we can obtain fragments of a given plant, fragment of any species of plants. We go to the laboratory, we culture the different samples, and those different samples are able to grow up into a whole new plant. Now, with respect to the differences between sexual and asexual reproduction, I'm going to allow you to later on pause the